It is Monday, everyone, and we're here at Bear Paint or something, picking up a load going to Roanoke, Texas. But before we could do that, we had to get our trailer fixed. I'll insert some pictures into the video so you can see what we had to have fixed. But this was how Mark had to back in. He had to come around those pallets, blindside a little bit till he could get straight and come back. Now, anybody, learning to be drivers, of course, blindsiding is never recommended. But what I mentioned the other day, when you have a whole big thing of stuff in front of you, so you can't exactly back in straight back, you have to improvise sometimes. And I tell you, that man can picture it in his head, and he just pulled around those things, backed this way a little bit more, and I mean, like I said, I am amazed when he backs. But we're having a little snack, a little popcorn. Mark's eating a little popcorn. We had a big breakfast. We had bean and cheese tacos. But we had to get the trailer fixed this morning, which was a pain in the butt. Somebody somehow the handle got bent on the trailer coming back, and you couldn't latch the door really well, and it was sticking out, hanging down. And then there was no way to latch this door to the side of the trailer when you're backing in to keep the door open and from flopping around. So we had to use one of our old phone cords. One of our old phone cords to tie it down. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that improvisation comes along with truck driving. You have to improvise a lot. You shouldn't have to, but there are just some weeks where all you have got to improvise. Some people use curtain hangers in the door to secure the door to the side of the trailer. When you open it, you secure it so that it doesn't swing back. And then I've seen drivers who don't even give a crap. They let that door just flop, and whether it damages the hinges, whether it hits something, they don't care. So anyway, we used one of our phone cords to do that. We did go to Love's this morning. We did a shower. We kind of, then time management is the other thing. If you've got time while they're fixing your trailer, go get a shower or get you some breakfast or do something like that. Try to, use your time wisely on that. Anyway, this is not an easy in and out. It's very confined, this area that he's backed into. These docks are, but you're going to find that more often than not. You're going to have such small areas to maneuver these trailers into. So anyway, I guess the point of my whole video today is a vlog on improvisation, because you've got to think on your feet. You got to think fast sometimes, because that door, you don't want any more damage. What else? The tire was, I don't know, flat last night, and then we've got auto inflate on them, so it inflated this morning, so now the tire's okay. But that was a little weird. But anyway, we did go to Lowe's and get the trailer fixed, and that took 2 to 3 hours out of our morning to get that done. And then we had to be here by noon to pick up this load. And of course, work is calling, and they're saying, hey, are you going to be able to make that pickup? And hey, what about that trailer? I mean, you are wearing many different hats, to be honest, as a truck driver. No, it's not rocket science, but yet you are wearing a lot of different hats. So common sense goes a long way. So this driver, see how he secured the door right there to keep it back so it doesn't flop forward? That's missing on our trailer completely. The front hook for that. So Mark had to go use some of our charging cords that are broken to connect that so that the door stays open. And this guy is using a little different back because he's going to the dock on the very end probably. So he's gonna have to almost do, well, see, he's got those pallets on the other side. I don't know, you can't really see, Mark. But he's got those pallets on the other side, so when he's coming to back, his tractor would hit those pallets. So he had to pull forward a little more, get a little more runway there, and he's probably gonna have to get closer than he was to us than he is to those pallets. So he's coming in at a steeper angle, and he's gonna then cut it and bring it back this way for the dock that's on the far side, the one that's all the way to the end.
It's
right
not
there.
all the way. There's a trailer.
There's a trailer over there too. So anyway,
have to cut it about now.
Gotta cut it right now, and I don't see him cutting. Now he is. But here he is doing it. He's cutting that tractor real hard. Oh my, almost to a 90-degree angle. That they call it a 90, with the trailer and the tractor being at almost a 90. But you know, he looks like an old timer, probably been around a while. But I don't want to put him in the picture necessarily. But anyway, so now he's gonna pull forward and try to angle. He can get a little better now. So. Anyway, but our dock is further over this way, so that probably Mark couldn't have, I don't know, there's a lot of pallets over there. So long story short, backing, I could do, you can watch 100 different videos about backing. This is a true story. You can watch hundreds of videos on it. Does you no good, to be honest. You have to be the one to do it. It's like you can watch it, you can kind of picture it in your head, and you're like, oh yeah, I think I can, you know, but until you
all in the setup.
Mark says it's all in the setup, which you have to have that setup in your head before you do it. And if you can't perceive it and visualize, then it's not going to work. And I always had a big problem with that because I couldn't visualize what the tractor was going to do to the trailer, etc. Anyway, I did backs and I do backs. I don't anymore. But it was never one of my strong suits. But I could drive for 11 hours a day, and that was a strong suit, you know. So, because a lot of people, you put them in the car, they will fall asleep within 2 hours. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. So, you know, driving like that, and then they can go for 8 hours, and they're like, well, I did drive 8 hours the other day. Do that every day, not just on vacation or once a month, or every single day, 11 hours when we were teaming. So my strong suit as a woman, I could do, and I didn't have to use the restroom all that much. I didn't drink a lot of fluids while we were driving. I tried not to, because that has to make you go to the bathroom. So, you know, it was just one of those things. Everybody has a strong suit. I was stronger in paperwork and making sure our classes were done, and that everything was turned in to the company, holding on to things. My logs always looked pretty good. But backing, that's a tough one. I think if I had done it more, I probably would have gotten better at it. Of course, I think practice helps with everybody most of the time. But anyway, there's another tractor, but there's a lot going on at this. But that's a day cab that's got an empty trailer over there, and another day cab over here, and it's just this is just a really tiny area to have a lot of truck business going on. And those day cabs can back those things up pretty easily, where a big tractor like ours, a big condo, is, you know, takes up way more space. But anyway, I'm not fixing lunch just yet. We just had some popcorn for a snack. Do you want any more popcorn? No? So we have a little snack sometimes between now and dinner. But I think for dinner tonight, I'm probably doing I either hot dogs, something light. We had a real heavy dinner last night. So, but I've got, I don't know. I thought I picked up spaghetti. Can't find it now, but I have a thing of spaghetti too to microwave. But anyway, guys, thanks for, and I do have some new subscribers, and I'm very, very grateful for that. You know, please leave comments if you're a driver or you have experience, or if you have advice on backing, because I mean, a lot of people take advice on backing, but like I said, it's, people can tell you, you can watch it, you can be instructed. Every time the instructor helped me, I did fine. But it wasn't really me visualizing the back. So backing takes practice. Straight backing is the easiest in my opinion. And how I would practice with that is I'd take like a boot or something large, like a small suitcase or something, and I'd put it way behind the trailer. And what you would try to do is go forward about, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 feet. But keep that suitcase in your rear view, in your west coast mirror, your side mirror, and try to get that trailer tandem tire right next to it. Don't run over it, but get it right next to it, backing up that whole way. Keeping the, you're going to have to make minor adjustments. A little goes a long way. When you're tiny, it's like a tiny little movement can move that trailer more than you think. So I used to do that. And an old instructor I had showed me how to do that. As far as 90-degree backing and 40-degree backing, you can damage your trailer and your bat wings, those wings on the side of the tractors for aerodynamics. You can cut it so hard that the trailer goes one way, your tractor goes another, but they munch, and what some people would even consider a jackknife. It's a controlled jackknife, but you got to really, you got to take it slow and figure it out and learn how the trailer reacts to your steering. So, because sometimes Mark has to just crank that thing and crank it hard to get that angle to get the trailer in. And, he's done so much as open the door. He's opened the door and leaned out and watched what his tandems, and you're looking at your tandems is what you're looking at. So he's looking at the tires. For a long time, I was like, I don't know what the hell you're looking at back there. What am I supposed to be looking at? The edge of the trailer, the whatever. You're watching the tandem. You're watching the tires. So anyway, long story short, do whatever. Improvise however suits you. There's no one size fits all. It's completely up to the driver. Like I said, you have to, on this job, you have to improvise on the fly sometimes. And if opening that door, and even in the rain or the snow or the freezing weather, if you got to open that door and lean out and physically turn your head and watch what you're doing as you're steering, do it. Nobody's going to say a word about it. I've seen him do it. I've seen other drivers do it. If it works for them, hey, sometimes just give it a try and see what happens. But you really need to allot that practice time with yourself to get comfortable with it. And I'll be honest, I was never comfortable with backing, even straight backing. Oh, we're being loaded, so it's kind of moving. I was never comfortable with backing, and fortunately, thank goodness, that as a team, I could always rely on Mark to do it. So that's really not an excuse. I had to do it for testing, and I had to do it to get my license. You have to do it, and there's nobody doing it for you. You have to do it. But I can remember one time, we have to do recertifications. We had to do them once a year. You had to go do a test drive once a year with Schneider with a instructor, and they monitored your everything, head swivel, but we drove manual back then. So what was ours, a 10 speed, 12 speed? What was ours, Mark? 10 speed, 12 speed, the ones we started on?
10 speed.
10 speeds. Well, anyway, and I learned to shift and drive and do everything, okay? So there was one turn, they always watched your right turns and your left turns. Well, in general, your right turn is harder than your left turn, because left turns you have more space to pull that the trailer, you know. But with right turns, you can take out lamp poles, stop signs. You know, if you cut that right too sharp, you're going to bring that trailer right over the curb and everything else. So you had to come a little wider with right turns and swing back. I'm sure you've seen tractor trailers do this before. Well, on one of my tests, I think I'd been with the company about 5 years, 6 years. So, and it was the same instructor. We were very fortunate to have the same people that knew us even from before. So I get in the cab with him, and we go down, and I knew of this first right turn, and I always thought I had to button hook it a little harder, where when you come out to make your turn, you kind of swing to the left a little bit, you kind of button hook around. Well, I don't know, I didn't have to button hook that time, but I did the turn extremely well. And I said, you know, I'm glad they finally widened this intersection. And he was like, they didn't. You just learned how to take a right turn properly. I felt fine. I was like, okay. He's like, no, you just finally learned how to take that turn. So anyway, things seem differently after a couple of years too. You get better. You're supposed to. You're supposed to get better. But anyway. Alright guys, well I'm going to wrap it up for today in a little bow. But today we kind of went over improvisation. Because sometimes you're just going to have to improvise. You know, there are some things you can't replace. Say they need a load strap. Well, if you don't have, you know, one of these load straps, if you don't have one and they need one, that can be a little hard to improvise and come up with if you don't have one. But generally, you should be carrying these, at least 2, with you all the time. Most companies will give them to you. You don't have to buy them yourself. If you do buy them yourself and you're a company driver, turn in your receipt and get reimbursed for them. So you should at least have a couple of load straps or load bars. I'm not a big load bar fan. Straps, to me, I think do better than the big bars. But some companies require you to carry load bars. So you'll see them. They're the bars that, I mean, people hang, I mean, you could put them in your truck and you can hang clothes on them, you know, so that kind of theory. But anyway, if you buy those too, and usually you can turn in the receipt and get reimbursed for those. But I would at least suggest having load bars or load straps. A lot of companies prefer load straps because they stay in they hook inside the trailer and they stay firmer. You hit a couple of bumps with those load bars and those damn things fall on the ground. So anyway, guys, have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and thanks for tagging along. Be safe, like and subscribe, watch my other videos, tell me hi, do whatever. Thank you.